There's Dan. What bridge is that, Dan? Tower Bridge.
Let's go on the White Tower.
Alright. That's all he's gonna do. I guess that's all he's going to do. Where is he going? You done? She's done.
I think he has an admirer.
Yeah, cute kid. Alright. So that's the White Tower. We're going to go inside of that. This is the Whitechapel. Look at the massive windows.
Press 14.
So it used to be the White Tower, basically. Yeah, that was castles.
Yeah.
And this is Thames. The rest of it was a fortress wall.
This is a Fusilier Museum. We're going to go inside it now for a couple minutes. This is an alley behind the Crown Jewels, and we got to go in the Crown Jewels and see all kinds of Crown Jewels, but they wouldn't let us take movies in there. So we saw a diamond that was... How big was that diamond? Anyway, there was a diamond in one of the crowns that was 500 carats. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, Tower Bridge.
There's Tower Bridge.
ਇੱਥੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਲੋਕ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਭਾਈ ਸਕੇਅਰ ਦੂਜੇ ਬੰਨੇ ਐਸਾ
There's
ਮੇਰਾ
the
ਭਾਈ
white
ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਸ
castle.
White Tower.
White Tower.
ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਤੱਕ ਹੀ ਰੱਖੋ ਨੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਟਾਵਰ ਪੂਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖੋ ਟਾਵਰ ਆਉਂਦਾ
This was Sir Walter Raleigh was in this room in early 1600s, and that furniture is authentic for that time period. Well, we're getting ready to leave the Tower of London, and here's just a back view of the Bloody Tower and other places. Well, here's the back side of the Tower of London on the outside. We are at Piccadilly Circus. There's all those double-decker buses. All these old buildings. Lots of people, lots of traffic. Lots of double-decker buses. I like the buses. Really pretty, ornate. Old, fancy buildings. All kinds of things like on top of them. Hey, there's somebody I know.
The road that we're on is called Shaftesbury Avenue. It's in honour of the 7th Earl of Shaftesbury.
We are
He
in
used
the
to do a
upper
great deal
level
in the mid-1800s
of a
to
tour
help
bus.
poor people who used to live in the slums, but they would have been to the left and the right of us here.
London.
All the street names are in both English and Chinese, and even the telephone boxes are different, except those little pagodas. There are 4 theatres along on the right-hand side here: Queen's, Gielgud, Apollo, and Lyric. Now the Gielgud used to be the Globe, but once they opened Shakespeare's Globe, it was decided there should only be one Globe. Charity. There's one benefit for money in there every year. Just one of us facing rather rudely away from us.
Trafalgar
That is a
Square.
17-foot high statue of a 5-foot high man. A man who couldn't step on the balcony. Almost 96. Well, the thousands of people assembled here in Trafalgar Square, approaches to Buckingham Palace.
Horse Guards to Buckingham Palace.
I do assure you it is there. One of the most famous front doors in the world.
What is this?
But number 11,
Prime Minister.
the home of Prime Minister Tony Blair. Although traditionally, the home of our Prime Ministers has been number 10, since 1735. 11 is normally the home of the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
This is Parliament. This is the Sovereign's entrance. The Sovereign's arch. The King's entrance. So interesting. This is Westminster Abbey. Here we are at Westminster Abbey from the front. And there is Big Ben. There we are at Big Ben. Well, there's a Big Ben from this side. We're gonna go get on a little boat.
It looks like they're getting ready to load. I'd like to go down there
Okay.
before it leaves and have to wait. Little bells that did the Westminster Times one. Thank you.
Yeah.
This building's recently been sold to a Japanese consortium to be converted now into a hotel. The building was originally opened in 1922. To give you some idea of the size of the building, it has over 2,000 officers and over 5 miles of corridor. That's the 1918 war. Then eagle points towards France, where many of our gallant airmen lost their lives. Once again to our left, behind the trees now, you can see here the beautiful Gothic style building, and that is the Whitehall Court Mansion. It's the home of the National Liberal Club, and it's also a block of luxury apartments. The building also houses the 5-star Horse Guards Hotel, which is said to be one of the finest hotels in London. The bridge Charing Cross Station, that's up in the left-hand corner. The large building up in the left-hand corner there looks very much like a large jukebox. It's a new office complex. It's been built over the top of the railway station in 5 years. Formerly a ferry boat on the Clyde in Scotland, converted now into a floating public house and restaurant. The bridge we're approaching, Waterloo Traffic Bridge, opened in 1945. Look at the facing of the bridge. See, the bridge is faced off with a rather expensive Portland stone. It has the unique ability to wash itself clean but the building is said to be very nice on the inside.
The ugliest building
Once again
in
to our
London.
right, slightly ahead of the boat now, you'll see a low-lying building with a tall office block into the background. Some of you may recognise because that brick building with a
Temple
tower on the
Arts,
top.
the divider
This
between
building in London
Westminster
is known
and
as the
London.
Oxo Building. Once again to our right, the next building, Sea Containers House. As you can see, this building looks very much like a hotel. Originally intended to be a hotel. Railway bridge opened
Countdown
in
to the
1868.
millennium.
As we pass my line, the well-famous St Paul's Cathedral. If you want to get a photograph or a better view, look to our left. See the red brick building? That's the new City of London School for Books. The masterpiece of St Christopher Wren. Took 35 years to build. And there you get a view of St Paul's to our left. Incidentally, where you can see the crane, they're building a footbridge across the river here. It's going right across the river into the Southwark Cathedral. Now buried by stone, transported to America, re-erected in the Arizona desert for the tourists on the coast. As we pass through the bridge now to our left, you see the white shield, the golden ball of flame on top of the monument. Monument built to commemorate the Great Fire of London. 202 complexes and as many luxury apartments. Directly to our right, the two brown brick buildings with a glass roof, the arcade, a new shopping centre, very green. And then their heads were stuck on spikes on the old London Bridge, 1,000 tons. They've only ever failed to open once, and this was on the opening.
Parliament
Westminster
ever
Abbey.
stored in that building.
Again.
And it is the U. There it is. Time is it? Oh, just chimed half past.
I heard it.
As the Westminster chimes at chimed half past. Big Ben only chimes the hours. After King Charles I was executed in 1649. Now we're following the road round to the right-hand side here, and we're coming along Victoria Street. We've been making a stop for Westminster, and the famous revolving sign of New Scotland Yard is ahead of us on the right-hand side. Just beyond those trees, I'll walk down because I don't want the policeman to see me. Have a look in front of you on the right, the revolving sign of New Scotland Yard. On the right. Much smaller than many people expect it to be, because they always film it from the lower level. Film it looking up the way. Now as we come along Caxton Street here, this is Caxton. I was married to you, I would drink it! Sort of thing you wish you saw hand side there. That is the Victoria Memorial. It's got the statue of Victory on the top. Queen Victoria's statues around the other side. You can't.
Here we are at Buckingham Palace.
They're all day.
There's Queen Victoria's victory statue. It's a victory monument. There's marble art. We're coming up. Got the tickets ready?
A mile and a half of
McCartney and Linda Eastman got married. It's also where Niels Gower and Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Brown got married in England in 1840. Regent Street, as it built along it, was essentially a shopping street. That was a... And as regards wedding cakes, the rest is history. It took him over 5 years to build, from 1675 to 1710. Standing at 365 feet tall. There's a famous whispering gallery there in the dome, the famous dome of St. Paul, where you can stand on one side and whisper across to the other and be perfectly heard. It's a bit of a difficult theory to actually try and prove because there's often quite a lot of people in there, so it's not too much silence to actually see if that's true. But I can say it here anyway, you can point that the cathedral itself is closed now. This part of London burned down twice. First in the Great Fire in 1666 where you would have gone to get your chickens and your ducks. For overseeing the business of the trade happening in the
grasshopper.
It's function today which is promote the city of London abroad out of London.
We're on the London Bridge.
The Roman
Yeah, the tower.
Bridge, this goes back to Knight Tower, which you can see in the middle there. That was built to impose all atmosphere into Londoners back in 1078, and I can assure you back then it would have done the job. Big Ben is switched on in the evening if the politicians are working at night. It's called the Ayrton Light. You can see that from Buckingham Palace then, so a very good idea by Queen Victoria. It's always been the home of the Archbishop of Canterbury, the leader of the Anglican Church.
London
That's where
Palace, built
he
in the
lives.
1400s.
And his flag is flying at the moment from one of his flag poles a little further back, so that means that the Archbishop of Canterbury is in. He's a bit like the Queen, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Palace here as we move by it now. And also some of the garden here on the right-hand side, arches one. Others say that sort of dog he had, I've got no idea. But probably a very brave postman in the morning. Now it's on their lunch hour.
That's Trafalgar Square. These
So
are
next
just
up
some
is our
cool
final
buildings.
stop in Russell Square.
Well, here we are at Dover. We're getting ready to cross the Calais, France, on one of these ferries. We're on a great big ferry. Well, our boat is bigger than that one. Dad just said that that one is a little dinky one compared to ours. You can see ours is a lot bigger than this one. We're up higher and everything. A dinky one compared to ours. going out to sea. About an hour and 15 minutes. Well, here we are now. It's the Calais.
Pieces of the diamond are in this
That's a
certificate.
$9,000 diamond. The little ones are 100. And
When you buy here a 1 carat diamond, you got the ring for free.
the big ones are like a couple of thousand. The bigger ones are, and the little ones
When you
are
buy a 1
That
carat
one
diamond, we
is
set it for you and it's free of charge. Only a simple ring.
the big open one is a $4,000.
$4,937.
$4,000.
Attentie, IPNU-toestel 212.
The $9,000 one is still in the case. So. $6,000 for that last one. It's 1 carat 29. Here we are in Amsterdam, a little street. They say that the bikes rule the road or the sidewalk here in Amsterdam. Everybody has bikes. And they get the right of way all the time. Oh, we just walked through the bike lane. There's the bike lane. There's the bus tracks. And there's the open market.
Waar koop je die dan? Ben je erop? Zo, 60. Dan dubbel 1,20. Maar je hebt 5 meter.
Well, that was a pretty fun adventure. Down the marketplace. They have bikes here for 25 guilders, which is as much as $12. So, I don't know how expensive these were, but they are not very expensive bikes. But people ride them all the time. And there's our bus and our group.
Became a real city, and in those days a dam was laid in the River Amstel, and the River Amstel is the only national waterway here, so a dam was laid in this River Amstel. They gave the name
The
So we
hooks
had
up
an
there are for
18-year
using a
war
broken
with
pulley
Spain, an
to get
18-year war
furniture
with Spain.
upstairs instead of having to go up through
In
all the stairs.
1648 this war
Flat
ended,
levels
in
of stairs to get
1648
your
this
stuff
war,
up.
which we shall visit later on. So here on your left hand side, the Rijksmuseum. And can you see the glasses in the roofs here on your left hand side? The glasses in the roofs on your left hand side. And why are they there? They are there to provide the paintings natural light. They are there to provide the paintings natural light, because artificial light can be damaging for the paintings. So we have glasses in the roofs of our National Gallery to provide the paintings natural light. And this museum was entirely built as a museum, this building, at the end of the 19th century in 1885 by the architect Kuipers. Bier Grols Oranjeboom, but Heineken beer is the most famous one, and we export it a lot, so that's why it's known all over the world. Of that housing problem. And for a docking fee of about 4,000 guilders, they're all attached to water, gas and electricity. And we've got about 2,500 houseboats here in the city center of Amsterdam. When families visit Amsterdam, they usually stay in this hotel. And also big stars like, for example, Tina Turner. It's also the most expensive hotel here in the Netherlands, because for one night you have to pay about $500 till $2,000 a night. And breakfast isn't even included. You can learn about all the cultures of the world. In front of you, and in a moment on your right hand side, you can see our beautiful Muiderpoort. It's an old gateway of our former fortification walls. And when Louis Bonaparte came here to the Netherlands, he made a beautiful triumphal. As that nature is the instructor of art. So here on your right hand side, our beautiful theater, also known as the Gate of Hell during the Second World War. And nowadays it's a national monument for those who died. I don't know if you all know the famous Jewish girl called Anne Frank. She's nowadays seen as a hero. We mustn't forget that she wasn't the only one, because we had about 140,000 Jewish people living here in the Netherlands, and only 20,000 of them survived his trip. And at the beginning of this century, 4 Holland volunteers designed an old medieval tower called the Tower of Tears. Because here on your right hand side used to be the former port of Amsterdam called IJ, and here the sailors had to say goodbye to their women. And of course they were crying because they weren't sure if they will ever see their husbands again. So that's why it's called our Tower of Rooster
It's
and
built in the
Tower.
15th century. It's their new church.
Our beautiful new church here on your left hand side. Isn't used as a church. The two main shopping streets of Amsterdam come together.
The Royal Palace or something.
So tonight,
So that's the Dam Square.
and here in Rik 1655 by the architect Jacob van Kampen. So built here in 1655 by the architect Jacob van Kampen. But it wasn't built as our royal palace at all. This used to be our town hall here standing on Dam Square in the 17th century, our golden age. This used to be our town hall in the 17th century. Anne Frank became such a famous Jewish girl because she was hiding there with her family in the canal house during the Second World War. She was hiding there with her family in the canal house during the Second World War. And in a period she wrote a little diary. She wrote a diary. But they were found by the Germans.
Alright, here we are at the Rijksmuseum. World famous art is in there. But we like this little house over there. I think it's a cross between our house and Grandpa and Grandma Dalton's. Here we are in the world famous Rijksmuseum. These paintings date back to the 1600s. So that's a Rembrandt photo from the 1600s. There's another Rembrandt one. Look really lifelike. This is Rembrandt's Night Watch. Like the famous picture. Look how big it is. $350 years old. Very big. How could you paint something so big? This one is family unity in the mid 1600s. It's a family making music together and their little doggy on the floor. Family unity. Hi Dan, are you cruising down the canal? Looking at Amsterdam from the canal? We are in a canal boat. Looking at Amsterdam.
Yeah, because all the canals are man-made. Yeah. But here on the right-hand side is a very beautiful large building. This building is called the Amstel Hotel. And this is the most luxurious and most expensive hotel. Quite a few people here on the water with a little boat, and in fact a lot of people. It's also not that expensive to own a little boat. On the right hand side you will be seeing the Southern Church behind the tree, and you will see it again later on for those who now in Amsterdam there's one strange thing that a lot of the houses are losing.
Oh yeah. Some of these houses are not quite straight.
They look like they're falling over.
They sure do. Especially that one behind the tree.
Yeah. That tower was built in 1512.
It's tipping over.
And it's going to fall on us if we're not careful.
St. Nicholas Church. This is a replica of an actual sailing ship called the Amsterdam.
Some of the nicest sites in Amsterdam are on here. And they're nice to send to your friends and also to keep. And each pack, there are 10 postcards. Each pack costs 5 guilders. Or $4 if you don't have guilders. It's not a bad deal if you're planning on buying postcards because in a shop, one postcard only costs.
These two houses look like they're falling over too.
So in this canal we can open the bridges. Now in the harbor of Amsterdam, Merlin's restaurant, we can also open the bridges. And then behind that is the big harbor, and then you can go either to the Rhine River or you can take the North Sea Canal over to the North Sea. Proof, this is a Jewish neighborhood. So we don't
Lots and lots of bridges, like this one. Many of these buildings are leaning. The facade seems to be leaning forward by about a foot. They were built primarily in the 1600s.
They're not allowed to knock it down.
And the policy of the city at the time was that a standard building lot is 5 meters wide. That's why they're so skinny and so tall.
There's the trolley and a cool building and lots of bikes, bikers. Amsterdam is an interesting place. Well, there's the Hotel Anchor that we're staying in. And it's built off of some really, really old pretty thing here too. It's really cute. We're in, where are we, Dan? Do you remember? Germany.
Starts with A.
Yeah. Something Germany that starts with A. And we're right on the Rhine River. There's a cute little village over there. Yeah, there's our hotel. See all... Alright, we'll take it on the other side. Look at this little city. It's really cute. It's behind our hotel.
That was Germany.
I know. Hey, too bad we don't have a postcard to mail. There's a little tower. And look at this ancient wall. This is like a fortress at one point. And there's a look down the little street we've been walking down. All by our hotel. Well, here we are at the cute little shops at our hotel in Germany by the Rhine River in that anchor place that I can't remember what it's called. It's really, really cute.
Well, we just came down that road and found ourselves in a large square somebody I know.
We are on the Rhine, getting ready to take a cruise. It's a resort town. We're going to be seeing some castles. We're on the Rhine, and we're starting, I can't remember where, but we're traveling. Beaufort. We're traveling towards Switzerland, because that's where the river originates. We're going to be on the cruise for an hour, 45 minutes. And buildings along the Rhine.
Morning belonged to the family who had two sons. They had the maid Angela, who looked after them both. One fell in love with Angela, went away to the crusade, and came back with a Greek wife. So those two brothers fell out.
There's two castles.
Angela stepped between them and decided she would marry neither. And she came down the hill to this monastery, the White Monastery that you can see there below. And she stayed in the monastery there, and she didn't marry either of them. So Henry, one of the brothers, lived alone in the first castle, and Conrad lived alone in the second castle.
Two brothers that hated each other, so they had to build a wall in between their castles, because they fell in love with the same woman. There's a little town with a little church and a castle up on the hill of Herkenmeid or something, and it was built in 1355, that castle was.
So
the Mouse Castle. Friggin' Mouse owned it, I guess. And there's the little church. And there's the castle. If you can see it. You can visit inside if you want, but we're just driving by it, floating by it on our boat. The Rhine. This was blown up by the French at one time. before. It was built in 1370 and bombed by the French in the early 1800s and then restored again that same century. I don't know that it was restored the exact way, but it was built on the forms. You can see an old tower in the back.
And they were not concentrating on where they were going. They would hit rocks here and went to a watery grave at the bottom of the Rhine.
Lady Lorelei. There's some pretty vineyards on the hill. They make really good white wine, they tell us. But Dad would like, Grandpa Smart would like it just pure gold juice. Wouldn't you, Grandpa?
Towers and 16 of those are left.
There's 16 original towers and 21 left.
Much of the Schönbrunn Castle was destroyed by the French in 1689, but nowadays it's been restored as a hotel. And right by the side of the castle is also a youth hostel.
1,000-year-old tower. It's amazing. These are, yeah, these are two of 21 towers. And how many are left?
16.
Here we are in Rothenburg, a 14th century medieval town. Along with a million other people. There's the town hall. This is just a little town with nothing but shops and restaurants. And architecture, of course, to look at. Well, the street with the bell tower at the end. Reminds me of Disneyland. All their shops and just a really cute little... Reminds me of Disneyland, but no rides. There's a Rothenburg well. That looks authentic. Okay, we are at the top of a watchtower looking down on the city. Awesome. There's Dan trying out the little steps. It's quite a little walk. This is another leg, another street with a tower at the end. Well, it's just an amazing little town. Well, there's a little tunnel with a town beyond. Town Square. There's the main drag down to the buses. I'll take a movie again of the tunnel. There's the town entrance, that archway, the clock on it. But we're in the middle of the road.
Prettier up the other way.
This is the other direction on this street. Rothenburg is a pretty cool place. Reminds me of, okay, it reminds me of Estes Park Vale, Disneyland, in terms of a really cool shopping place, but it's the 14th century architecture, and so it's different like that. But all it is a bunch of shops with cool buildings. Oh, Well, this is the entrance to Rothenburg from the entrance. There's the entrance. A cute round tower and a tunnel. Well, here we are from the tower looking at the roofs of the town. It's really cool up here. But we've got to go catch our tour group. This is a German carnival. We are on the Romantic Road heading from Rothenburg to Munich. The Romantic Road is supposed to be the prettiest road in Germany. It's a scenic highway for tourists. Anyway, lots of rolling hills.
Well, this is Innsbruck, and there at the end of the road is the golden roof. Maximilian in the 14th century built this gilded tile roof for his wedding so he could look down on it or something. Then right next door, it's got a very impressive clock tower. This is the other direction down the street. Very narrow, pretty. And this is my favorite building in the whole town. Let's go down and get a closer. Here's this cool building. This, I think, well, I don't know for sure. It's a Baroque architecture. Might have been Ludwig's. Ludwig? No, that's wrong. Maximilian. Might have been Maximilian's house. I like it. It has this medallion right in the middle. Cool, huh? And then the little dumb shops. If I'd seen this before we built our house, that's the architecture I would have used. And it's cool, it goes around too. There's a little archway down here that we came through. This is a giant big hotel. It's 14th century, I think. So we're at our rest stop on the Brenner Pass. That's the Brenner Tunnel right there. We just barely crossed over into Italy. And you can see it's a nice cloudy day. Look at these mountains. Look pretty.
They're just like the Austrian mountains. In fact, this used to be part of Austria until after World War II. Only Italy claimed it.
And here's our big bus, our Renault.
Now most people associate with Italy the sun. But I don't know where it is today.
Out of Austria.
I'm sorry. It's normally out. Into narcotics and drugs as well. So they control a huge amount, especially down in the south.
There's a castle in Italy. There's another. There's another castle in Italy. Italian Alps. mountains with churches with really cool steeples at the base of mountains. It's typical of what we're seeing.
Well, these are the Dolomites. Kind of sheer cliff mountains.
Look at the green floor. Well, here we are at a little town Cortina in the Dolomites. I need to buy postcards because it's too cloudy to take pictures.
West of the Dolomites.
That's a ski jump from the
On our way
Winter
towards
Olympics.
Venezia.
We're in Cortina.
Opera developed, an opera in cities in Italy, and they have like La Scala.
The Dolomites are pretty, and I suppose they don't look too good on the bus, so I guess I won't do any more, but they're pretty fantastic.
It's way up there.
Well, this is the hotel we're staying at tonight. And we're in, what's the name of this town? Anyway, we're in a town that's like an hour from Venice. And we got that fountain and all that cool stuff. They've also got a newer part over here, which is got lots of flowers.
Well, we just arrived in Venice by that boat. And the bell tower is San Marco's bell tower. San Marco's bell tower, yeah. There's a little canal street off of a bridge in Venice. This is a picture spot. The bridge down there is the Bridge of Sighs. That's the Bridge of Sighs.
It's cool because it's enclosed and beautiful.
St. George's Island, it's a big church. Many people are in love with that place.
This is St. Mark's Square, San Marco in Venice. And this is the, well, that's the square. And that's not actually the church, that's the palace. And here's the bell tower. This is the tallest point in Venice. That's St. George's Church across the Grand Canal from St. Mark's, and then this is the south end. And that's the cathedral. I don't know where Susan went. And we just took a tour inside of here. They have beautiful frescoes above the different doors that tell the story of St. Mark being stolen from Egypt. This fresco shows how the body of Mark was stolen from the Egyptians. And then this one being brought back to Venice on the boat.
There are some gondolas in Venice. We're just off a little, this is a little side street in Venice. It's pretty interesting. there's a gondola. Gondola canal. We found this. It's Contrini del Pavola. Look at the spiral staircase. And it's got some pretty gardens around it. This is one of the most beautiful architectural things in Venice, it says. It's nestled in the heart of Venice. And we discovered it, or we looked for it on the map. There is Rialto Bridge. We're going to go get on it. And we'll take a picture of the Grand Canal from the bridge.
Yeah, I would like
Yeah. Venice is really interesting. Oh, well, I was going to take this movie from the bridge. I forgot. Well, we are on top of the bridge. Looking down. Rialto? Rialto. And we're looking down at the Grand Canal. They use the boats for transporting goods to all the shops and stores. And they use them for getting around, and they use them for tourists. And it's very busy and interesting. Well, here we are on the other side of the Grand Canal. So that is what a gondola looks like. The tower is ringing noon, and this is just a little side street into a Venetian neighborhood. Well, these are people's houses lined up onto the canal. They must have their own private boats for getting around. Here's a teeny little street.
Quando che è finito tutto?
Well, there's a canal. There's a pretty building on the Grand Canal. See if we can zoom in on the architecture at all. Well, here we are at a little Italian restaurant in Venice. We're having pizza and calzone. And there is our view. There's a little Italian dress shop. Or Venice, anyway. We're on a bridge. I think it's north. It's near the train station. We're getting ready to cross over and go the other way. I want to go back here and see the bridge. See the cute little bridge? I just can't believe Venice. It's just so unique and so cool. Everywhere you go, canals lined by fancy buildings that are very old. There's an interesting church that we found, but we're lost. Here we are back at the Grand Canal on the Rialto Bridge. Gondolas. Well, here we are back at the Basilica with the bell tower in the background. There is a pretty impressive building. The big bridge at the end is a bridge of size. We're going to take a photograph here. Oops. There's Dan. ready to leave Venice.
Well, we're leaving Venice. There's San Marco Basilica, that's the bell tower, tallest point in the city. And this is the Bridge of Sighs. That little bridge there is where the condemned prisoners were set out to be executed. Very famous bridge. And this is the customs office. This was built so that all the incoming boats would have to be inspected before they could sell their goods here and trade their goods here in town. They had very strict standards that they would maintain. Same building from the other side. Let's see what this says. All the buildings have a name. No, can't read it. And we're going to Tolkito parking area. Looks like some people come here on ship for a day or two. Yeah, this is Firenze, Florence, Italy, and we're on a hill overlooking the city.
But I want us to be nice to take a picture.
You want it down there, or do you want it?
Well, there's the dome, and that's
You said it how you want me to do it.
Yeah. So you can try and get the very, very far away. So far.
Sun's now coming up.
We're inside a church in Florence. That is Michelangelo's tomb. Michelangelo is buried there.
Medici means doctor, physician, but the where is only a family name, of course. Originally they were bankers, French people, wealthy family, ruling on Florence 300 years. Cosimo di' Medici, one of these, brought him back to Florence to be buried inside the church.
This is the tomb of Machiavelli. And then here we have the floor. There's all kinds of tombs on the floor. The go over there. Those are all a memorial. A memorial to Leonardo da Vinci, but he's not buried here. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa in this building, and the Mona Lisa is in France now. Here we are in the center of Florence. See lots of copies of Michelangelo's David. They're rather embarrassing yet very famous. So that is where David sat for hundreds of years until he was moved in the late 19th century to the museum. He's got very large hands and feet. Here we are, still in Florence, and there's the big dome building that you can see from the look-off that we looked at. And look at all that white, green, and red marble. This is such a fabulous building. It is so incredible. It's a church, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, look at that. You can't even see it because it's so close. It's a church.
Santa Maria del Fiore, Virgin of Flowers. This is the most important church of Florence. That's why it's dedicated to Florence. Florence means flowers. A rich
This
city
church is
full
built
of
in
banks, of rich
600,
dealers,
year
proud,
600.
proud Florentine.
And the dome was added
For a
several
long period was
years
also the
later,
biggest
about
church of the
1500.
Christianity.
They
Only it's only
couldn't
the fourth.
get the
Philip
dome up
Brunelleschi
yet
at the
because
middle
of
of
the
the 15th
technology.
century, an architect.
There's the front of that church. That was built in the 600 or 8600, and the dome was completed in the 15th century. Like I said, it took them a while to figure out how to engineer, well, engineeringly, how to get the dome up there, because they didn't have scaffolds or any kind of technology to help them. So it was the 15th century before it had a dome. Now we are inside that beautiful church that we saw. This is the 4th largest church in Europe, I guess, maybe in the world, yes. Cathedral. The larger ones are in Rome, London, Milano, and then here. And it's that really old one, and it's just incredible, and I'm sure that it's too big to take a picture of, but anyway. There's the floor, marble.
This is the ceiling of the dome. It's too much to see. So Michelangelo painted a lot of this. Bigger than the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. 12,000 square feet, I think she said.
I think she said that Michelangelo carved this door too, but I could have. She was hard to understand. It's to the baptistry, and that's Jesus and John the Baptist, and I don't know who else.
So this is across the street from the cathedral, and this is the baptistry, and De Berti, I think is the name, that did these scenes from, I think, the Old Testament. And these had perspective, which was brand new in these bronze castings.
Is the cathedral, and the larger dome is the baptistry. Can you see those on your right? Yeah.
There's the
So this
Leaning
gives you a
Tower
good
of
view.
Pisa.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa. So you've got the tower from 1132. The cathedral was first built in 1064, and then the baptistry.
Well, here's the Leaning Tower. They say that after they got the first 3 floors done, it had already started to lean. But they didn't want to stop, so they just started to correct and make it a little straighter as they got up higher and higher. But as you can see, it's leaned a whole bunch since then. But the top is much straighter than the bottom. And they say that the top hasn't been open for about 5 years. So this is the baptistry at Pisa. And you can see that this side, I think, is just freshly cleaned. They've got scaffolding all around the sides, and they've been in working and working, trying to get it cleaned up for the year 2000, but it looks very nice to me. I think this side's done, but very decorative. The doorway here is quite ornate. All carved marble, I suppose. Well, we're standing on the safe side. There's a wind blowing and we don't want to be on the opposite side today. System of cables and pulleys here to try to keep this thing from tipping over. Right here, you can see how it's all anchored together in the center. All these cables going around. Down. So it doesn't tip over. Thinking this apartment building might have fairly cheap rates, because one of these days whoever's there is going to wake up dead. I wouldn't want to sleep there.
The little cherubs are cute.
Okay, this is kind of from the opposite angle. Little cherub dudes. There's the big church, cathedral, and then there's the baptistry underneath. Well, here's a final view of the Tower of Pisa. Well, this is the Piazza Vecchio in Firenze, Florence, and this tower is on our plate. Also, one of the things it's famous for is that Michelangelo's statue of David was placed here in front and stood there for... So, same square, there's a guy on a horse. A guy hitting another guy on the head. And then there's that David statue, and then another guy hitting another guy on the head. And then this is pretty cool. Big archway. Beautiful. Then this is really cool. This is so classic Italian. They have a little Italian restaurant, and then all the tables and chairs are out front. You pay to sit down there and eat your dinner out on the sidewalk.
We're going to do that in a little bit.
Yeah, we're trying to pick one right now. Where are we going to eat tonight? Oh, I see. It's the great.
Piazza Maria Novella. This is a pretty church in the... It's a big square at the back end of Florence by the train station. This is our bathroom in the hotel in Florence. It's barely big enough to walk in. And look how large that shower is. You can't hardly even shut the door or hit your shoulders. But they had to have room for a bidet because it was so important. And look at the garbage. Here's the rest of the room. It's pretty normal. Hi, Dan.
Hi.
But we've got 3 beds. We'd have more room if there wasn't 3 beds. I forgot to state the fact that this bathroom is made out of marble. The floors and the walls, not the ceiling, and the countertop. It's just too small to stand in it.
The Lake Como and the town of Como, where Mussolini was caught and killed here before he managed to escape over the border.
Yeah.
Okay, last photo opportunity here before the trees come back.
Hi, Dan. We're having a little lunch that we bought at a grocery store, well, sort of, a market, and in Italy, and here we are in Lugano, Switzerland. This is Lake Lugano, and we're in Switzerland. This is Italian-speaking Switzerland. Switzerland has 4 languages. 15% is, or 16% is Italian, 65% is German, 18% is French, and 1% is something else I can't remember, Romanesque or something. But anyway, this is Lugano, Switzerland. And here's the nice little park around the lake. Really? We haven't quite figured out what Georgia, Washington has. That's good with the Swiss, but here he is. Giorgio. Does he look like the same guy? I think so. Magnum cephalorum. I don't know. These trees are kind of interesting. In Lugano, it's pretty warm, and you've got the mountains and the lake, but you've got tropical trees and palm trees. I don't. These are the Swiss Alps. there's a waterfall down the middle and little farms and a truck in the way. And little farms on the sides. Okay. Yeah, where's the bridge? Oh. Right.
Look, there's some church way up there. There's a bridge.
The thing is they build their house structures on the steep slopes. That's unlike Utah. And they farm the steep slopes, unlike Utah. That looks like your Rocky Mountains, kind of, to me. I mean, this really looks a lot like Colorado and Utah. And those look like your Rocky Mountains that we can see from our house in the distance. That one in the distance looks like the ones we see in the distance. This cute little waterfall in this village. Way up there on the hill. Look at the terracing way up there.
And this valley that we're driving through, this road that was made, was one of the first roads that used to link the south of Europe with the north. So we've been in the south and we're heading back up towards the north now, to Lucerne, where we're going today. Obviously this was not something he could do in one day, and on the way he created little villages. Just here you can see the Saint-Gothard sign for the tunnel, 17 kilometers long. So in many days he crossed these mountains, setting up little villages, churches along the way, so he had somewhere to shelter on his way towards Lucerne. And the biggest task in 1229 was for him to cross this big Gotthard mountain. So now we're in the tunnel.
Very different. Almost 14 minutes.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Quarter of an hour.
Wow, it's a long tunnel. Can't hold your breath in that tunnel. What does the mountain? What does the mountain?
Now we're on the
Here we are back in the sunshine. After 17 kilometers, 11 miles of the Saint-Gothard tunnel. And now the air. And here you actually escape by boat from this area.
Look at the color of that water. It's kind of a greenish color. Bluish green. This is Lake Lucerne. We're here. It's 24 square kilometers.
40 square miles.
40 square
And
miles.
we do all the
Yeah.
sports on the lakes, windsurfing, the same thing.
There's the end of a 6-mile tunnel. And here we are at Lake Lucerne. Still, but just in a different place. Well, here's our little stop at Lake Lucerne. That's the view. It's mostly just a store town, not so much a view town. That thin roof sometimes has 3 meters of snow on it. We don't understand how that works. Here's our hotel room in, what's it called? Switzerland? What's it called? Kuschnet or something? It's really cute. It's a lot cuter than last night in Firenze. And it's especially, the bathroom is better. I think we can walk in that bathroom. It's not very huge, but it's bigger than the other one was. But that bed looks really cute. I like it. Here we are in the little village of Kosenach, Switzerland, just up from Lake Lucerne. It's a lot more peaceful here, not quite as many people. More of a residential place instead of, well, it's still resorty, but it's not quite as like Lucerne. And that mountain is beautiful over there. The little houses on the hill. And the ducks. The ducks like it here. Hi, honey.
Morning.
There's the other side. And then the sun's on the way other side, so I won't film it. This is Lucerne. And that was Chapel Bridge over there. It's a very picturesque place. Here. There are swans on the lake. Is Claudio going to make it? Oh my gosh, is he going to make it? He's our bus driver.
He's a little nervous. Oh, this other guy's calling him.
This is Lucerne. And there are the buses. The other one's backing up so Claudio can get by. Another bus. Claudio is an amazing driver. We like this little building with the round turret staircase on the outside. There's a castle on the hill in France. The trees keep getting in the way. Pretty amazing castle. We haven't seen much population here in France yet. I guess they all live in the big cities. 59 million people in the country and 20% of them live in Paris.
Well,
here we are touring through Paris.
So just on the other side, you will see the Opera House on the left there. The old opera, because we have a new opera. But don't go to Versailles this afternoon. On the left you will see the Royal Palace. It's a building that we call the Royal Palace, but crossing all Paris from east to west Lyon. Now the Louvre Museum opens at 9 in the morning. It closes at 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's a classical drive between the Seine, that you see on the right, and the Louvre on your left. You will is the French Academy. As a place where the French dictionary is written. Means that here, once a week, the 40 great intellectuals called the academicians.
The oldest
built in
bridge.
1600.
Built in 1600.
It was called New Bridge when they built it because it was the first bridge built in stone and not in wood as all the bridges in the Middle Ages before.
The new bridge is the oldest.
Now what you
bridge
can
in
see
Paris.
on the other side of the river is not anymore the other bank now. From this new bridge, that's the city island. That's where Paris was born. It's still here too.
This is the original Paris.
And below the Palace of Justice was jail. And much later, under the French Revolution, that was the right again on that square tower around the corner. You will see the oldest public clock in Paris. It's still working on your right.
Marie Antoinette was
And then you will see
imprisoned
the
there
main
until she was
entrance to the
beheaded.
Palace of Justice.
It's a Satin Chapel. French.
It's complicated here, so you have to listen very well if you don't want to get lost.
Here we are. Notre Dame. That's Notre Dame. This is a square.
Okay, so, well, imagination again.
These are the gargoyles. Quasimodo's buddies. are inside the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Automatically your eye gets something. It's one of the standing lines. And also the new thing was that between each cannon the wood is useless.
This is an original window, 700 years old. So the other two that look like it, but the rest are restoration. So during World War II, they removed the 3 original windows and saved them, put wood on either side and buried them because they were afraid that Paris was going to be destroyed and bombed. Somebody was given instructions to bomb Paris, but he refused. So they actually didn't get bombed, but they had protected the windows so they wouldn't be destroyed in case of bombing. Those are copies, but they used the ones for an example. They use the originals for an example. Napoleon crowned himself here instead of allowing the Pope to crown him. And after that happened, the Pope was really angry. And he didn't come for a couple hundred years. And finally, just 3 years ago, the Pope finally came back.
Animals, those monstrosities of hell, which are called the gargoyles. They are supposed to throw the bad spirits away, and it's a protection against the devil. And also they are very useful when it rains because they drain the water. So they protect the stone of the cathedral against the humidity. They drain the water directly on our heads, of course, and we have to
So
be a
there
little
really
taller.
are gargoyles on
No, the
Notre
gargoyles
Dame.
were used by Quasimodo. He threw hot oil on the head of his enemies through the gargoyles. Quasimodo, if I tell you the truth, I must tell you that he never lived. That it is pure fiction. That's a book of a man called Victor Hugo, who lived in the 19th century. The book is called Notre Dame de Paris. The name of the cathedral.
Here's Notre Dame from the back. One last view. Notre Dame.
Except the front side.
Is opening here. They sell second hand.
Building on the right. Stands. There it is.
Look on the left, you see an example of the churches built before the Gothic cathedrals.
This is the Palace of Justice.
Lawyer and mathematician who lived before dignitaries from here. Ruled the former royal palace until the revolution. Remaining in the 18th century, all the French aristocracy wanted to live in front of the Louvre. All those mentioned that you can see on the left belong to that time, the 18th century.
Only old
Coming to
paintings
see
are
the
in there.
fine art
19th
school of
century,
Paris.
early
on the
19th
left with
century
the
and
relics.
earlier.
School for paintings.
So, old classics. Early 19th century and earlier is all. And the biggest museum in the world.
You will have to go to another museum, which is on the left there. It's called the Musée d'Orsay. The left behind the railing, that's
There's
the
a
Ministry
square
of
that Marie
Foreign
Antoinette
Affairs.
lost her head.
And on your right, you will see maybe the most beautiful bridge in Paris, called the Alexander III Bridge. It was built for the World Fair of 1900. Alexander III was the father of Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, who came to Paris in 1900. They rebuilt it, restored that bridge 10 years ago for the bicentennial. They used 18 karat gold. Here to the left you see the air terminal of Air France, where we catch the buses going to the Orly airport in the south of Paris. And we are going to approach that very huge building that is in front in the 17th century. So these cannons in the courtyard here, facing us, these cannons are older than 300 years and they belong to the battles of King Louis XIV, as well as the building itself. The architect of the building is Mansart. That's the main architect at the end of the 19th century, of Rodin, Auguste Rodin. Now the masterpiece of Rodin was this thinker. Have a look on your left here. You see behind those railings, can you see the garden that bridge?
That
He's
is the
buried
tomb
in
of
7
Napoleon.
coffins made
The
with
thing in
7
front of him was
different
a hospital.
materials. The material of the tombs of the Roman emperors. And there are other tombs around Napoleon. There are 2 of his brothers, Joseph, who was the king of Spain, Jerome, king of Westphalia, and there is also the son of Napoleon.
14 carats of gold.
12 kilograms.
Look more like a ball and chain.
Yeah.
There are riding horses here. Behind, of course, you recognize the top of the Eiffel Tower. Behind the Eiffel Tower, there is a third building.
There's the Eiffel Tower, built in 1889 for the World's Fair, and nobody liked it at the time. The French people, the French government, they all thought it was really ugly and useless. But the guy went ahead and built it anyway, and then just after that he turned it into a radio tower, and now that it was useful, it was able to stay up, and it's now the symbol of Paris. We're going to come back here at night.
Élysée Palace, which is the official residence of the French president. Mr. Jacques Chirac lives there on the left.
There's the statue of Joan of Arc.
All right, so we are going to stop.
Here we are in the center of the Louvre. There's a pyramid. Everybody thought it was really ugly at the time. And there's a cool arch back there. I filmed it when we were on our bus tour. So the Louvre was originally built for Louis XIV, but it wasn't fancy enough, and so he built Versailles, which is where we're going to go in a little while. And now it's a museum, and like I said before, it's the biggest museum in the world, and it has only paintings from the early 19th century and older. All the new ones are somewhere else. The Mona Lisa is in there, but they say that if you walk through the entire museum, pausing 5 seconds only at every picture, that it would take you, oh, I forgot, 2 days, I think, to get through it, or maybe more. I can't remember. There's no way we can go through. But we could go see the Mona Lisa if we wanted. But it would cost, you know, $10 or so just to go in and see it each. So I don't know what we're going to do. I would have to say I would guess we're not. But this is the center. We are here in Paris. Well, here's the inner courtyard of the Louvre, where the Louis used to live.
Some of the King Louis used to live here.
Bad light. There's a Roman arch. We are inside.
I don't know if the carousel was the...
Art de Triomphe at the carousel.
Oh, we're entering the Palace of Versailles.
I like to look at it, but I don't like it.
This is where Louis XIV came. Looks a lot like somebody's house I know.
They started building this in 1682, and that's when the first Louis moved in, Louis XIV. And
statue down there. And that's the king's bedroom right there.
He wanted to open to the east so the sun could wake him
The
up.
sun would come in the windows in the morning and wake him up. I guess he couldn't afford an alarm clock. Oh wait, there's the clock.
Fashionable drink
The buffet
in
room.
France in that 17th, 18th century. It was the hot chocolate. Chocolate and coffee and tea. It came from South America, from India. Just come a little nearer, maybe. You see Venus on the ceiling, and that's the Venus room. Well, I shall give you the Roman names. You know, the Romans used the same gods and goddesses as the Grecians, but they just changed the name. And in France, in the 17th, 18th century, usually the artists were going to Roma, to the Villa Medici in billiards room, actually.
Billiards.
Nothing to do with hunting, but never mind. You must imagine the table of billiards here. You had platforms all around for the ladies to sit and attend the ceremony. No, so if you imagine the light, which was there until the wall of mirrors of Chaldon, you see marks on the ceiling, you see the medallions all around as victories of Roman emperors, you see the hamlets also, because this room was the guard room at the beginning. The guards of the king used to stay here. Then Louis XIV transformed it into a music concert room. So you see David playing the harp, painted by Il Dominici, it's another Italian artist.
Ambassador's bedroom. This was the throne room. The throne's gone, but it used to be right there in front of that.
No, that palace was still sent to the places of the people who were starving. It was never enough. And at the end of this,
This is Louis XIV. He built this place, and look at his shoes.
Oh, this is a wow.
Yeah, look at this. Ridiculous.
Yeah, there are starving people in the countryside.
And everybody was starving to death.
That's the Hall of
This
Mirrors.
is just the Hall of Mirrors.
I guess South Africa.
Look at the ceiling.
The walls are all marble and gold.
The Treaty of Versailles was signed at this table. One in 1990 and the end of earlier wars this century. This is the Queen's bedroom.
It is exactly as it was for the Queen, the last Queen, Queen Marie Antoinette. It was divided. That was that balustrade like that because I told you that the king received the Queen, and some of them have the great privilege to help the Queen. Here is the drawer. She came from
When this was
Austria.
stormed, Marie
All the
Antoinette
mirrors
escaped
you
through
see a
this
part of
door.
her family. The brother of Marie Antoinette, Joseph, family of
Marie Antoinette.
Habsburg. And
Right
here
there.
is the mother of Marie Antoinette, Maria Theresa of Madame de Pompadour.
Here's the next room.
18th century. No, you heard about Madame de Pompadour, maybe that's. She was the favorite. She was the.
Gardens out the window. This is Marie Antoinette. Which is 21 years old. This is Marie Antoinette, right before the revolution. This was the main entrance into this marble room. And this is the coronation of Napoleon. Napoleon held the crown and crowned himself. He didn't let the Pope crown him. And that's what he's so famous for. Well, we're outside now. In the gardens. And these are the state apartments or something like that. And they have their own little gardens down here. A little pond, fountain. Sounds like a shooting range over there.
The forest was the king's private hunting ground.
Yeah. Or Versailles. So this is the main courtyard out to the west. This place is gigantic. This is the north garden. I think this was their baseball diamond right here.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
And the hedge is the home run fence.
Yeah. And then this is the Hall of Mirrors that we were in a few minutes ago where the Treaty of Versailles was signed.
This is the opera.
Well, here we are at the Arc de Triomphe. Napoleon built this, or started building it in the early 1800s, but died before it got done. Just a great big arch. Well, from inside the Arc, you can see it's sort of like the center of the city. You can see all over the place. It's gigantic. Well, who'd have thought? Here's George Washington, right in the middle of France, in the middle of Paris, sitting on his horse. I guess it was given to them by America for help during the Revolution or something.
Okay, there's the Eiffel Tower. And it says there's 182 days left until the new millennium. And they have a countdown for the millennium there.
$182 days left. This is underneath the Eiffel Tower. We could take a picture of Napoleon's tomb over here. It's
There's the Louvre.
Napoleon's tomb. Oh, and then there's the Ferris wheel we were under today. Maybe.
That is the Louvre. Over there by the Ferris wheel. Here we are on top of the Eiffel Tower. Well, by the roof. Oh, you did? Really? You saw red eye reduction flashes? There's a little restaurant with tables out, kind of like where we ate. Haven't eaten before. And there is the art. There's Notre Dame. There's the entrance to. There's the Eiffel Tower at night. And we were just at the very top. We hiked about 500 stairs, took an elevator, and then hiked about took an elevator down partway, hiked about 350 stairs, and then took an elevator down the rest of the way.